Okay, quick look through. Just give me 1 second. I'll be with you in a second. So, quick look through Tuesday's end of day closing screens. So inside days across the board. Small caps punched through highs, didn't it? But we've just been range bound into the close. Pretty much inside days on the rest. In the US, we've got inside day on the industrials, and we've got a pop higher on the SPY, S&P, Qs, NASDAQ, and we've got inside day on the Russell. We're firing on 2 out of 4 cylinders there. Let's go and have a look at the transports. Yeah, transports as well. We've got a big gap below us. Should we draw this gap in the chart here? And as you will know, those who've been with me many years, we're very relaxed about this stuff. The market will consolidate at some point. The stronger it stays in the short term, you know, markets consolidate through time, sideways sort of base in action, think about it like this, or price, you know, the price route. But low, you know, at some point the market will consolidate. Doesn't mean it can't go higher, doesn't mean we're picking a top, but at some point there will be a consolidation. What we'll offer, let's just it will show that it will give us a lot of crikey, they blew the charts on ShareScope, didn't they? I don't know why. I'll just take you back to 2015, because you know we sat through this, and I had a lot of members at Trading Bases. They just you know, not to speak bad of people, but you know, when you're new to the markets, you think because the markets are going up, you know, that you should be fully invested. And you know, this can happen. This is exactly what did happen. You know, we came right close to highs. I think some markets might have made highs. I can't remember. You could have a look at them all in 2015, back end of 2015. This bear rally, and then we put new lows in. And the good market didn't start until here. So this can happen. So I'm just going to draw out sort of what I've already drawn out on the chart. Markets consolidate through time. I'll just basically draw a base or price. This one, put the lows in. So, you know, you go back to the full bear structure, and then you go back up again. You're up near highs again. You go markets consolidate through time or through price. And you know, there's always a bit of price in the mix. You know, as you can see, this came down on a pretty vicious move here. We know there was a Brexit vote. We know there was a US election pretty soon after. And but you know, constructive, riding the averages, consolidating where it should. You know, the time frames are, you know, all turning up. The time frames are trying to turn up here. They're still pretty loose. You know, the future is unwritten. But you know, when it comes to these, I'll just go back to COVID as well. I'll just bring the 250 up for COVID, because this was just a real good market for showing this. Same thing. You know, this is that FOMO zone. Everyone just thinks, oh yeah, I've got FOMO. I should be fully invested. This, that. Look at what I've missed. You don't get anywhere in the markets picking bottoms, but just knowing that this is the consolidation. This went the time route, not the price route. The time route is very constructive, and look how it started to, ride the five moving average, and as it broke out, it turned up on the 200 day as well, and it was rising on the longer sort of 400 day or 20 month. I go 5, 10, 20 month, and all time frames were then in sync and rising from this area. But I'm looking, we got this lovely little basic. I'm looking for this in stocks. Now, I did have these marked on the chart off first trade. We started seeing the really nice base breakouts around. There was swing trades to be had all the way through this. If you do a relative strength screen, I traded Zoom. I just traded a swing on it and rotated. Zoom went on to be one of the biggest winners in the US. But me being more of a swing trader in the US, and I like to load up for the trends in the UK. We were seeing this pattern, probably from around sort of, would it be the back end of June or July? We started seeing really good bases break out, and the market continued to go sideways as some of those bases broke out. So what I'm doing here is I'm just showing, there's a bit of psychology of how people think, and then there's the reality of how markets actually trade. And this didn't break out till November out of this base, but WATR, CER, let's go and have a look. CER, I was involved from April on CER. We could have bought it here actually. It's the first swing point we saw on the screens, wasn't it? WATR. So we're not waiting for the market, and we're not taking the lead off the market, but obviously, I got involved on this little mini base here. I might have cheated it. I can't remember, but it was a cheat in itself, and I added early. But this was, May, June, July. That was some September when this one went, and just go and look at the other ones we rolled back then. JLP. I'm sure there's a video in the site with this, isn't there? JLP. Beginning of July again. I bought it here and I added here. So you get what I'm trying to say there. It's easy, not looking at the market for a switch, but we're looking for the market, to go into a more of a consolidation than just, if it goes the price route and just does a hard sell down, and then we start to see accumulation days and follow through days. You haven't missed anything. I haven't missed anything from my time frame on this. For people who are running their pensions in the, that's going fine, isn't it? That's dollar cost averaging all the way through this. More aggressive stocks and catching primary trends. It's a little bit more to just waiting for the price action to tighten up. Tight price action at a higher price will make you more money than loose price action off the lows, because you end up with a tighter stop, which lets you get more invested, and an earlier add point hopefully as well, and that lets you add quicker as well. So yeah, that's kind of just a little bit on that for people who will. I'm answering the questions before I get them, basically, because I always get it. Been doing this over 10 years now, sharing through Trading Bases, and I always get the same questions. So I'm pretty in tune with what I'm going to get asked in what sort of market environment. Cheers, Mike. Sound and Vision. So hopefully everyone's making the most of this lovely sunny weather. You know, it is a little bit like watching paint dry in the UK markets at the moment, but it's, you know, it's the positions are all melting up in, you know, they're doing fine, aren't they? The positions are. Everything what's in my portfolios is up today. So, gold stocks are just bumbling around a bit, but yeah, it's an okay week start to the week again. No pullback yet. Right, I'll buzz through these. Just hit the pro gaps as I always do. Just see what gapped up. I run them in the morning, obviously, as well. When there's interesting stuff, I do tend to do intraday videos. But when there's not, I'll still just run the volume leaders. What, you know, if I just a quick look through, not every day, but just days I feel like it might be something interesting. But try not to soak up too much of people's time who would like to watch everything. I do repeat myself in the evening anyway, so financials, they're doing all right, aren't they? They're breaking out again. It's hard to argue with some of the price action. I know we've got reverse vol bases, which might result in earlier pullbacks due to the percent rise, 40 odd percent of the lows. Excuse me, hiccups. See, you know, this reverse vol, you know, straight back to highs, it's reverse vol bases all over the charts, isn't it? As we go through these, we just, it's basically all stocks that what are recovering back to highs have got the same sort of action, apart from the ones what are a little bit more, you know, they didn't sell off, you know, they didn't sell off reverse vol, did they? The good stocks, MTL, ALU, you know, they've got some pretty good SRC there, another one. The pullback, and this is textbook what to look for in a pullback, and I know we covered it at the time, but just back to the previous baseline. It's not an exact science, but the best ones, I mean, as it wasn't here, you know, but the best ones do, you know, you can be too artistic with that stuff, I suppose, but the best ones hold up, don't they? Strongest hold up, corkiest stocks. One second. Sorry, it's my birthday, and I'm trying as I might to win something on eBay. Do I usually treat myself to some vinyl, something spend a bit more than I should do, but I've already done that last month a couple of times. Say a couple of times. I've spent an absolute fortune, so I've kind of already had my birthday indulgence. But there is someone just dropping some stuff, so I'm pressing refresh on one computer as I'm doing this. Wix, you know, we talked about that, you know. Nice orderly base. I mean, just, you know, go and look at the pullback in the markets and how this acted. We I can't remember if we drew a line on this one. It's a full on POS or CTP, a calculated total punt. You know, it's just a blue sky stock. I don't think we drew a line on that one. I just remember we drew a line on one not long ago, but might have been a resource one. And into those swing points. And for those new members, swing point just means it's closed above the high of the lowest bar, and you'll get lots of awful looking ones, but this is what it captures. Pull back, 8 to 10 day, close above the high of the lowest stick. So that's the lowest stick, and that's what the swing, that's the swing bar, the swing point there. So a swing day is when it takes out and closes above this bar, and basically, you know, it didn't do it yesterday, but it did it today. So this screen just pulls these up, but it will pull up some ones. What, well, you know, I look for the orderly stuff in this, and pullbacks, obviously in trend stocks, and pullbacks for swing stocks as well. But I'll just punch this one in for you. I know we've already looked at it this week, but just in case someone asks me, it will be here. Yeah, you know, unless you're trading the pack for a move, it's a purely technical, isn't it? We move on, swiftly move on. There's a lot of blue sky stocks and loss-making stocks in this list. 88 Energy. I traded this one years ago. It would have. I think I'm missing some data here. I think ShareScope's limiting the look back now on the charts, because I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I traded this in 2011 or before. But maybe not. I know we traded it here. Just a little momentum swing in my world, that was. I did add to it as well, and then I took my profit and moved on, being what it is. Let's buzz through the last ones. So yeah, I'll quickly have a look in the end of day. SRB. Yeah, I mean, it's the old case of, you know, we've basically every setup on this up until this one here has been a GTRS sort of passes the GTRS screen, didn't it? Stage one, we'll call it stage one, breakout, pullback. Stage two, breakout, pullback. Stage three, breakout, pullback. And this was kind of, you know, still super orderly and kind of a stage four. It continues. This was late. You know, this is what I tend to say is the last chance saloon if you want to try and ride a trend stock. But outliers obviously can go on a long way. Now that this one here, even if you took that stage four, you're not complaining, are you? It went up. It actually went up 80+%, and it's still in the game. And we've got a little ledge here. It gapped down on. Was this someone just selling their? Yeah. Greenstone Resources and Fratelli Investments sell 15.7 million of Sarabi. So they're basically just pulling the cash. But that's going to happen as well. This is these things hit the tape all the time in UK thin stocks. This is why, you know, I get a lot of, you know, well, Minavini does this and Minavini does that questions, don't I? And I say, yeah, but go, then go and have a look how many things can cause more volatility in a UK stock than they deal with in the US. It's the UK stocks do gap around a lot more. Small cap stocks, when someone sells a stake, you've got to be able to soak up that. So that's why I always go primary trend with these things. Not always, but you know that's always going to be my focus, isn't it? Soak up that. Something like that shouldn't even make you blink. OPT, Optima Health. Buzz through it. I mean, this one's ticking up. Turnover's just drifting a bit. Expected to post pre-tax profit. So it's a little bit mixed. So you've got just a flat turnover, a return to profit, pre-tax profit, and earnings per share is it took a it broke down last year, so it's ticking back up, isn't it? Earnings per share breaking out by the looks of it. So yeah, not got all the details on that thing. But it's an early one, isn't it? I always say it, don't I? Like these IPOs, I like to see a base. Yeah, I know some of you like to take these earlier than me as well. And active low, double bottom, higher high, price action reversal. That's your swing point. That's the switch. What flicks, sell the rip into buy the dip. What do you get? First pullback to mean trend, swing point. Then it gaps up a few days later, and this is how I like to do it. I like to give it the room it needs. I trade towards a third measured move, and then I basically eye it in and make sure it's got the room it needs. It shouldn't go below 52-week lows. If this stock rises into the future, gets bought out 10 years from now, if it rises into the future, if this is the correct entry, it should never trade back below these 52-week lows. Period. If it does, you get out. You do what you do. But yeah, see, it's too early for me to even look closely into that. But it's nice to see a new stock actually hitting the screens, an IPO, isn't it? So I'll leave it there. Unless anyone has any questions, those on catch up. I know we've got some old members who've just come back. Obviously, just if you want something covering in these end of day sessions and you don't attend, just send me a message and drop me sometimes I just do a video and send it back to you in the meantime rather than do it in the end of day if it's if I'm trying to find a job for myself. Okay, cheers all.